Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Braden Timmons, and today, guys, we have officially come to that time again this year. We did this last year with the release of Halloween Kills, but Halloween Ends is officially here. It is officially upon us. What have you guys thought about Halloween Ends? If you guys haven't seen my review on my channel, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys go over to the channel, check it out. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Halloween Ends, and then come on back here and check out my ranking, and be sure to leave comments down below and let me know how you rank the entire Halloween franchise. Obviously, this is a very long franchise. There are a lot of people that have very big favorites, and I'm curious to see exactly where you guys place these movies. And I want you guys to know my list is going to be different than your list, and guess what? That's okay. It's okay to have different opinions. That's what makes these long franchises fun, is that there are people that can like different elements of them, and people watch these franchises for different things. So, but I do want to say thank you guys so much for being on this Halloween journey with me. I've had so much fun ever since Halloween 2018 came out, or really since that trailer came out when I did my initial reaction, and that's what really dawned a lot of you to come and watch me, and I really do appreciate you guys being around this channel for as long as you guys have. Or if you guys are new here, welcome. Seriously, I'm very excited to have you guys around, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. I really just want to get into my ranking and tell you guys how I feel about this franchise. Once again, my opinion is going to be different than yours, so please be respectful of everyone's opinions in the comment section. That is the only thing that I ask. So, guys, we have 13 Halloween movies now. 13. We don't even have 13 Friday the 13th movies yet. We're one movie away from it, but it still hasn't come to that. So, we have 13 Halloween movies within this franchise, so let's jump right into this ranking. So, coming in at number 13 on my list is Halloween Resurrection, and that should surprise none of you. For those of you that have watched me for a long time, you guys know that I cannot stand Halloween Resurrection. I think that it is an awful Halloween movie. I don't think it has any likable characters. I will say Brad Loree as Michael Myers at certain times he looks good, and the mask isn't necessarily the worst in the franchise. But overall, as a film, I just don't really like it. The characters are bottom of the barrel. The concept is cool. Sure, I could say that it was ahead of its time, but I don't think that the execution was there. And then them killing Laurie Strode literally in the first 10 minutes of the movie, after that iconic victorious ending at the end of Halloween H2O, I thought was a big smack in the face of the character. I really don't know why the hell this movie existed, except to make some more money for the franchise, but really nothing likable here. So Halloween Resurrection comes in at number 13. Coming in at number 12 for me is Halloween 2 2009, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I will say I like the first 20 minutes of this movie. I think that it's got a really strong first 20 minutes of the film, and then it just kind of really takes a nosedive from there. I really cannot stand, if you watch the unrated director's cut of this movie, I will say that Laurie Strode is incredibly unlikable. I will say most of the characters in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 are pieces of garbage. There's really, again, nothing to like about the characters. The theatrical cut is a little bit better, but because the unrated director's cut is the one that is getting released on, the Blu-rays and everything, I have to go based off of that, and the characters just aren't great. I understand that Laurie Strode is and has gone through a lot, but I feel like that she is way too over the top with that. And same thing with Annie. And I'd say that the strongest character in this movie is Sheriff Brackett, played by Brad Dourif. The scene when he finds Annie in that unrated director's cut is absolutely great. It's one of the greatest moments in the franchise, if you ask me. It's got some good elements, but overall, the way that Michael Myers looks, how it's a half a mask and everything, I'm just not a fan, and it doesn't feel like a Halloween movie. This kind of feels like its own thing, and as its own movie, I think it works, but that first 20 minutes after that, unfortunately, it doesn't do it for me. So Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 comes in at number 12. Number 11 for me is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, I understand this is one of those movies that has grown on people over the years. Very much like a lot of these movies tend to do. It's pretty hard for some people to actually sit down and rank these movies, but Halloween 5 I don't really like very much. I like it more than the previous two that I had just mentioned, but I will say that the mask here is a big turnoff. He doesn't even look like the Shape. Like, he's not really scary in this movie. Michael Myers looks like, the mask literally looks like Nicolas Cage's face. And then put that together with a whole bunch of just mumbo jumbo throughout the course of the movie, and especially with the story with Jamie being a mute after the events of Halloween 4 1 year later. The fact that Michael has apparently been staying with this old man for an entire year when he crawls out of that cave and collapses in that old man's hut. It literally cuts to 1 year later. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous shit. I mean, if you look at it as just something that you can watch and shut your brain off, then that's fine. But in terms of entertainment value of the franchise, I would watch several other movies before I watched Halloween 5. Halloween 5 comes in at number 11. Number 10 on my list is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers is definitely one of those movies where it's, again, gotten better in people's eyes over the course of the years since it's been released. I will say that Michael Myers is actually quite good in this movie. I think that the mask is probably one of the best looking masks in the entire franchise, since after Halloween 2, it kind of goes downhill from there once the mask and Michael Myers comes back in Halloween 4. But I just don't really, I feel like that this movie is just very mean-spirited, especially like to the character of Jamie Lloyd. I think that this movie, it's got some good elements, but I'm also not a huge fan of the Thorn trilogy. I like it more than I do Halloween 5 because they actually go further into trying to develop the story that they are telling in terms of how Michael is a part of this cult. This movie focuses very much on that, whereas Halloween 5, it introduces this man in black, but he's not really integral to the story. He's just kind of there to break Michael Myers out at the end, and it just pretty much feels like one elongated trailer for Halloween 6. Whereas Halloween 6 actually tries to tell this story as to, you know, Michael is involved in some cult, and that is where he gets all of his evilness from. So, you know, Halloween 6 is definitely a step up from Halloween 5. It's definitely got some of the most violent kills in the entire franchise. It is definitely mean-spirited, and Michael Myers doesn't fuck around in the movie. Still, I'm not a whole big fan of the Thorn idea and really trying to explain Myers is evil. In my opinion, you've never really needed that, so that comes in at number 10 for me. Okay, guys, coming in at number 9 is Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends, I think it just, the more I think about it, it just didn't do it for me with the ending of this movie. This is a perfectly fine film to do if you wanted to do this as a standalone Halloween story. I like the idea of Michael Myers' evilness taking over somebody else. If this was an anthology piece, I feel like it would have worked very well. However, I am looking at it as the conclusion of the trilogy. Not a big fan of how it ended. Not a big fan of the idea of focusing completely on anything other than what the film was marketed to be, and that is the conclusion between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, when this movie was the furthest thing from that. It literally feels like that they were fucking writing a script and they get to page like 90 and they're like, oh shit, we have zero Michael Myers in this movie. We just kind of need to throw him in where we see fit. And that's what I feel like that they did. Now, if this was a standalone Halloween anthology movie, I really do think I would have enjoyed this. I actually think that this is a good idea as to where they can take the franchise if they wanted to maybe do a TV series or like, you know, just movies now to have for anthology pieces. I feel like that the fans are ready to appreciate anthology pieces, and those that are really liking Halloween Ends is definitely showcasing that. Because Halloween 3 nowadays has that big-ass cult following that I do think, you know, is good for today. I think that the fans are officially ready to see different Halloween tales. My problem with Halloween Ends is that this isn't how I would have approached the third act of the story that they were setting up in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. I feel like what they have done with Michael Myers in this movie is just complete disrespect to the character. I really do. And people can say that this isn't a Michael Myers movie or whatever, whereas it should have been a Michael Myers and Laurie Strode movie. I just genuinely think that they disrespected the character. I think that when it comes down to Michael Myers and how they actually showed his process, it's almost as if his evil was completely gone. Like, they show Michael Myers and his process in this movie. Like, what they should have done is, again, what I mean by that is when Michael is standing by the tree watching Laurie Strode, this is when Corey is at Laurie's house, and he's walking up the steps with Allison, and he's watching Laurie, and then we see him turn and walk away, and then we see Laurie turn. It should have cut to Laurie looking over by the tree and then cut back to him being gone. But they showed his process in this movie. Everything with Michael Myers in this movie, I pretty much hated. I did like the fight. It was completely short-handed, but the way that they handled the character of Michael Myers, the reason that people were going to be in the seats is to see Michael and Laurie, and they were completely sidelined for the duration of the movie. Not a big fan of how they closed out this trilogy, but fractions of interesting ideas as to where they can go in an anthology route. So Halloween Ends comes in at number 9. Speaking of anthology pieces, coming in at number 8 for me is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I really can't tell you why this is at number 8 on the list, because I absolutely love this movie. But being that I love this movie, I just didn't really know where else to put it on the list because I like all of the movies that are ahead of this just a bit more. But I like the idea that Tommy Lee Wallace had with Halloween 3. I like the idea of maybe having a different Halloween tale. John Carpenter was a big fan of the way that this movie went because they were done with the story of Michael Myers after Halloween 2, and I thought that this was a really solid introduction as to where they can go from here. I like the Silver Shamrock idea. I like the witchcraft idea on Halloween night and all that. It's a pretty dark movie overall. Love Halloween 3. That's number 8. Coming in at number 7 on my list is Rob Zombie's Halloween. I think that this was a really stellar remake, being that Rob Zombie was trying to do something different. Like, how I look at remakes is I try to see how these are relevant to the franchise. What do they bring new to the franchise that maybe we haven't seen before? You know, and I think that this retelling of Halloween and seeing how this drives someone into madness like Michael Myers, while I understand that there are people that, like, I don't need to see him driving himself into madness, but I will say I think that this movie does a good job. It stays focused on that story. It showcases young Michael Myers for the first 45 minutes. Then it cuts to 15 years later and shows him as an adult and continues that ideology of, you know, now we know why he was driven into evil. So it's not that I don't like to see Michael Myers' process. It's I don't like to see 1,000 different ideas and really not staying focused on one idea. And I feel like that's what Halloween Ends did. They had flashes of a lot of different things that they were trying to do with that movie to really try and close this up, and I just feel like that overall that fell flat on its face, whereas I feel like Rob Zombie's Halloween is more focused on the story that it's trying to tell. So Halloween 2007 comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 on my list is Halloween Kills. Now, I actually tend to like Halloween Kills actually more and more every single time I watch it. I see Halloween Kills as a Haddonfield movie with a lot of Michael Myers in it. Everything with Michael Myers and Halloween Kills is absolutely awesome, and I really do think that they showed him as the full embodiment of evil in Halloween Kills. But I also like seeing how Michael, over the years, has really, really affected the town of Haddonfield, and this shows a lot of people coming together to try and stop that evil. Even though evil doesn't die tonight, like their tagline says, I also really like Laurie Strode and how, you know, she's definitely sidelined in this movie, but I like a lot of her scenes, especially with Officer Hawkins, and the 1978 flashbacks are absolutely great. Some of the best parts of that movie, and again, just really going to showcase like what was really going on Halloween night in 1978, and seeing Michael Myers get captured is something that we didn't really need to see, but I like seeing the effect that Michael Myers had all of those years later on the town of Haddonfield. I think that this movie, it's actually very much growing on me, which I'm honestly shocked about because I walked out of the theater quite disappointed last year, but the more I watch Halloween Kills, the more I actually tend to like Halloween Kills. And after Halloween Ends, I definitely do appreciate Halloween Kills a lot more because I think that Halloween Kills has a really strong Michael Myers and James Jude Courtney. It shows the embodiment of evil, and it really doesn't hold back on the gore, and I fucking love that. It's like everything with Michael Myers they did right in that movie. I wish that we would have had a little bit stronger of a story, but I also like the idea that Michael and his evilness and everything that he has done to that town has really showed the effect over the course of the last 40 years. So Halloween Kills comes in at number 6. Bringing us into the top 5 is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. The Return of Michael Myers is one of those movies that I like more and more every single year that I watch this film. I think that with Jamie Lloyd, I think that she is a really great character. Danielle Harris is very good at leading this movie, especially for a young actress. And I love the relationship between Jamie and her foster sister, Rachel. I think that this is honestly a really strong relationship. Other than that, other than really being there to care for Jamie, Rachel isn't necessarily a character. She's a character, but she is somebody that is just more boy hungry and boy crazy than anything. She's trying to get with this guy. And other than her being there for Jamie, she's not necessarily a very strong character, but because they wrote her in a way to where she was able to be there for Jamie, and you can tell that her and Jamie have a very strong relationship, I think that that is what really does it for me. Michael Myers is honestly quite terrifying in this movie. The mask is something that has actually grown on me so much over the years, and I think that this is just a really telling Halloween tale. I like how Michael Myers is brought back in this movie, and Halloween 4 is number 5 on my list. Bringing us in number 4 is Halloween 2018. I love this movie, and after Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, I can confirm that I love this movie so fucking much. This was one of those movies, again, where when it came out in 2018, I really wasn't too sure how I felt about it. I was like, it's got good elements to it. It's got some really great, character development. It's got really great, atmosphere, and there's just some really strong writing, especially during the first part of the movie. The comedy kind of takes out a little bit, but it's got a really good Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney. I feel like that. Halloween Kills, he's good, but I feel like that Halloween 2018, man, is like this is the first time he played that character, and I think that he really nailed it on the head on the first go. And I really like the angle that they take with Laurie Strode in this movie. I really like just the overall story and the arc of the characters that they have throughout the movie. Again, the comedy does kind of dock a little bit, but I could forgive even some of the most cringeworthy jokes because of just the Halloween atmosphere, the Halloween vibe. I think that this is a really damn good Halloween movie, and Halloween 2018 is number 4 on my list, especially after seeing these last 2. Bringing us to number 3 is Halloween H2O. Now, as much as I do like Halloween 2018, I think that Halloween H2O does it better, baby. I think that H2O is the definitive ending of a Halloween story for me. I love the approach that they take with Laurie Strode in this movie. It's very much like the approach that they took with it in Halloween Ends, but because Halloween H2O did this first with Laurie Strode, I think that that is another reason why it is definitely my version of this, is because Laurie is in a position in Halloween H2O where she is trying her best to get over the events of Halloween 1978. She has spent 20 years trying to run away from her past with Michael Myers, and she even faked her own death, changed her name, moved completely away from Haddonfield, which is definitely something that I feel like one might do if they feel like that this guy is going to be coming after her, especially because this is her brother. He's going to try and find her no matter what. when he returns. And I love that approach. I love how in the beginning we open at Nurse Marion Chambers' house and Michael is there and he goes through Laurie Strode's file to understand where she is. And I will say, if you took James Jude Courtney's Michael Myers and you put him in Halloween H2O, best fucking Halloween movie in the franchise. No ifs, ands, or buts. But because they do change the mask a lot throughout the course of the movie, and it is definitely noticeable. You can see it in every single frame that the mask is different. But I will say that the movie does a really good job at telling a great story. It's got some great characters. I love the character of John Tate. You can see how Laurie's past has really affected him also, kind of like how it affected Karen in Halloween 2018. Again, the reason that those are lower on my list than Halloween H2O is because Halloween H2O did it first, and it did it better. I love the characters in Halloween H2O. I love the story. Halloween H2O comes in at number 3. Bringing us to the top 2 is Halloween 2, 1981. I love Halloween 2. I love watching Halloween and Halloween 2 back to back every single year. I think that Halloween 2 is a great way to continue from where Halloween 1978 left off. I like the idea of it picking up right on the exact same night, literally moments after that movie ended, so it feels almost like you're watching like an extended TV series or something. Rick Rosenthal, the way that he directs this movie feels very much like John Carpenter would have directed Halloween 2. And John Carpenter did actually come in and reshoot and direct some scenes in Halloween 2. He's not credited, but he did make that decision because of the movies that were coming out were a bit more violent than Halloween 1978. So he wanted to come in and reshoot some scenes to make it a little bit more bloody and a little bit more violent, because he said that he didn't think it would be scary enough if they didn't do that. So Halloween 2 feels like a movie that is definitely within that exact same night. I think that the way that they shoot this movie feels very much like that 1978 version, just with a little bit more blood. So Halloween 2 comes in at number 2. But guys, come on. Does this surprise anybody that Halloween 1978 comes in at number 1 for me? Without Halloween 1978, guys, there would be no franchise. There would be no movies. There would be no lore. There would be nothing to explore or anything like that. I think that Halloween 1978 is the best Halloween movie in the entire franchise, and I like flashes of different movies throughout the course of the franchise, but I feel like since Halloween 1978, we have yet to see that perfect Halloween movie. We've yet to see that perfect one since Halloween 1978, and I really do want to hopefully see a perfect Halloween movie sometime in the near future, but Halloween is the one that started it all. I love this movie. It's my favorite horror film of all time, and that is how I see the Halloween franchise, guys. I don't think that there needs to be anything said about Halloween 1978 because I've said so much about it on my channel in the past. And with all that being said, post comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think, man? What do you guys think of the Halloween franchise? Where do you guys rank all of these movies? Whatever your thoughts are, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 15,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.